been nights we've done 3 and we haven't even started yet at this time, so we're doing well.
Yeah, okay. We're doing well as you gulp down your non-alcoholic beer and I gulp down my 6% cider.
That shit is fucking really, really heavy. It's so good though.
Yeah, I think that's why I like it, because I think it's
A couple of places.
one. I think I can manage like one. If I'm feeling very loose at a weekend, I can manage 2. I usually bow out halfway through the 3rd.
Fair. Well,
Yeah.
how many is this now? 1 still?
I've got 2 here. That's me. Just opened my 2nd.
Right. The Rabbit Rooms, used to have that on draft, and it was fucking unbelievable. I remember they used to have a beer of the month club.
So I think we're not doing the intros.
I'm just going to film it at the end.
Cool.
And then slot it in the top. As in the end of the night. Sort of
When when I'm absolutely full drunk.
yeah. It'll be fine. But the Rabbit Rooms used to have a beer. Well, they probably still do, I don't know. But they have a beer of the month club. I remember 1 month. The cool thing was that at the end of the month, if they had stock left over, they would just sell what was left of the beer of the month from the previous month at like a discounted price. But 1 month they had, like these size bottles, but it was called Spitting Llama, and it was 7.5%, and it was really fucking tasty, and it was very easy to drink, and well, I don't really remember how I got on them. I just remember that they were cheap because it was the end of the month. And I had a few of them. And so there you go. Spitting Llama, if anybody wants to forget their evening.
That's feeling very strong now that I know we're definitely doing 4.
You don't have to drink it all right now.
Yeah, I'm going to have to maybe put that out of range.
Do you want a wee non-alcoholic?
I might, yeah. No, not right now. No, I've got water here. Water here.
Okay, I'm going to take them out anyway, because I have to one for myself in a second here. Why am I slurring my words?
It's contact high.
Yeah. But yeah, you said you had something to read.
Yeah, no, I was like, this annoyed me, so I was like, you know what, I'm going to give Nathan this, because he always acts like nothing annoys me. Yes. So I was on Twitter.
Now, this is a segment I can get into, Mick. Things that have annoyed you.
So I had deactivated my Twitter for a while because it's like I've no shit on.
Did you go viral again recently?
I don't need that noise, man.
All my success.
Went to Berlin. Left the postal address in New York, says I'm gone, man, until this heat dies down. I'm out of here. Might record something seminal while I'm gone.
You're just You're just a sensitive artist. Who sings that, by the way?
Fuck, who was it? Let me see. I've got it here.
That's a fucking very funny song. I really enjoy
What was it?
that.
King Missile, Fluting on the Hump, Dog. What? Sensitive Artist by King Missile.
Your Discover Weekly is so much better than mine.
It's always really good. It's
Margaret has really ruined mine, and I resent her for it. I'll be honest. I used to discover really cool things like Lake Street Dive and other cool bands that I listen to now. And then one day when Margaret was on a late night shift in whatever hospital she was working in at the time, I said, well, here on your break, you might as well take my Spotify if you want. You can log into it and work away. And, well, it's just unrecognisable now. and I hate it. It's good if you want just things that are related to the soundtrack of The Greatest Showman, and that exclusively, really. But anyway, I digress.
So I seen this tweet, right, and it said, Curb Your Enthusiasm does such a good job of hiding the fact that Larry David has $400 million. And I was like, right, that is so stupid that, first of all, this has to be like a ironic, somebody just tweeting this, like,
for
obviously not obviously missing the point of the show or
like
whatever.
Purposefully missing.
Being like almost like a parody of a misinformed Twitter tweet,
Sure.
like a parody of a bad tweet. So I clicked in, and sure enough, it was a comedian. And I was like, right, they're probably just fucking dicking around. And then there was a reply that said, I've never considered this read. Curb Your Enthusiasm does such a good job of showing how not even $400 million can undo the relative generational trauma of what Jewish guilt / spite and financial / professional insecurity can do to a person's psyche. Mm-hmm. And I was like, oh my fucking God. I was just like, Jesus Christ. Why does everything have to be dissected like that?
Yeah.
And then there was a reply said, not everything is a trauma narrative. And I was like, yeah, well, at least somebody's kind of saying like, Jesus Christ, you have to do this for a sitcom.
Yeah.
And then the next tweet was, all life is suffering, all media is trauma narrative. And I was just like, and this was within 30 seconds of me being on Twitter, and I was like, man, this is hard. And then I seen a reply. So this is a reply to the person who said, I've never considered this read. The person said, you've probably never considered it because it makes no sense. And I was like, that's me. I'm gone. Oh, that's all I needed. Somebody just saying something fucking sense. I was like, I'm done with Twitter. I reactivated it just to fucking promote this.
Yeah.
All these videos and shit that we're doing, but Jesus Christ, like within 30 seconds I just got sucked into the most arbitrary nonsense about a show that I like, and I was like, this is too much.
I remember whenever
and it was because everything you take everybody's sentiment out. You can only provide your own context for reading it, so it just sounds like somebody.
Who was the comedian out of interest? Sorry?
I can't remember.
You didn't know them? No?
I didn't really know. It wasn't a name I recognized, but it's just like you take everybody's sentiment out of context, and you always just, for me, and I always just picture people kind of giving off when they're tweeting, spouting, and you're like, you always. It's just such an obnoxious format. I think you take the worst read out of everything. Yeah, and everybody.
Well, it's because it's all that's, we said that before, but it's all that's really rewarded on there is like there's never anybody is retweeting like the really positive uplifting message. It's always the put downs or the I'll show you sort of thing. Is what trumps everything.
But 30 seconds, and I was like, what am I reading? And who are these people? Why am I reading? And I was just like, this fucking thing sucks. Like, why?
There's nothing, like, I know that, like, whether it be in a personal life, like in your own personal conversations with people or whatever, like, certainly when you work in, like, a creative industry, I all too well understand the temptation sometimes to drag something down if I'm annoyed by it or whatever. But, like, I don't understand and they're probably, I guess you would call punching up, because if you've never heard of them, I'm sure Curb Your Enthusiasm can survive the.
But the same thing, I think their intent was there was this. I think it was like an ironic kind of troll parody of like one of these. I think they were just fucking around,
Oh, and so,
but it was the sincere
responses.
Discourse afterwards. I was like, oh man, my brain just went. I went soup mode. I was like, this is. Yeah. There's there's too much at play here for people. Like, it's just such a bad form of communication. That's what it is.
Yeah,
like, it really is. It's mad that it's thrived. That's what I find so bizarre, because it's like
it's almost not surprising though. It just.
But it's always like pitched as like a really direct form of communication, but it's not. It's so fucking
Twitter. You mean? Sorry.
Yeah, it's like throwing pennies into a fountain.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it's like no one's ever really like look. It's like any online discourse. Like no one's looking to learn anything about anybody's point of view or whatever. Like it's just. Yeah, but here's what I think is essentially what Twitter is. It's like, but don't mind what you said. My followers won't read your reply. It doesn't matter how well you respond to my fucking quip or whatever the fuck. But all that like dragging a popular show down kind of crack. I mean, if it was done ironically, then fair play to them, because they picked up on it.
I'm thinking it's almost certainly it was done ironically, which I was like, that's funny.
Good for them if they've picked up on that, because that is so like fucking a thing that just is like.
But you should follow like things like I follow a lot of like social media parody accounts like Clickhole and Reductress and fuck Jesus, there's loads of other ones that I can't think of.
Is
now.
Fuck Jesus one of them? Sorry.
No, that was from my script from the Christmas special.
There's a couple of lines on that I'm proud of us for leaving in. I'll just put it that way.
Listen, it was a performance piece.
It certainly was.
I said from the start, I mightn't have went how I remember it.
It was just your recollection.
I am an unreliable narrator. That is my defense. Like, I am a clearly unreliable narrator.
I think
that is the part of the piece.
There's something,
not to fucking dissect the frog, but
there's something to be learned from that exercise which you did, that within anything you do ever, there should always just be one section which is just always your first draft. Just for pure madness. You know what I mean? Because like it has a completely different hair to it, like than anything else you do, and not that the other stuff isn't good.
Are you talking about like the things that we did at the end of the podcast and stuff like that? They were all
No, I just mean like it feels like a different person entirely. You know what I mean? It's like fearless. This'll be crack, and I think the knowledge. I guess it has to come through a different filter when you know that it doesn't have to go through other people to like.
Yeah.
You know, you don't have to worry.
Yeah,
about
no, absolutely. Like I was like that was a whole bit.
Yeah.
You know, I
Yeah.
was like the whole. I mean, I don't want to fucking sit here and dissect the fucking joke or a
No,
bit,
no,
like,
no.
But,
I mean, but people have already seen it now.
But like the whole thing was, I don't like.
Yeah.
I misremembered fucking moment and
Yeah.
where I put myself of great importance
It's
and like
it's
everybody
so
else comes off as horrible except that was so like that was me. I'm comfortable in the knowledge knowing that that's the joke, and I was like, people don't get that.
There's
then
actually
if you didn't get that joke,
There's a chat that's had when the mics go off, and it wasn't taken out for any other reason than just we were like taking a break, and so there was like not everybody was sitting down, and we were just kind of chatting about it after your story, and you're sitting there just like really chuffed at yourself, just like and everyone's like, "What the fuck was that?" And you're like, "I mean," but there's a bit where like me and you start talking, and we go like something along the same lines what you just said, which is well, I think I ended up saying. Because there was a moment where like you were like, is it too bad? Like, is that okay? And I was just like, well, it's clearly a joke, and the people who don't know that it's a joke aren't worth explaining it to.
That's it.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's that's at the end of the day, it's all about the intent, isn't it? Like,
There's that adage, it's like explaining a joke is killing a frog. It's like dissecting a frog, or dissecting a joke's like dissecting a frog. Nobody enjoys it, and the frog dies at the end.
I dare say the frog was already dead.
Or the frog's dead, whatever. I don't know. I can't remember.
I haven't dissected a frog in years. But yeah, no, that.
But I know I was watching it back and I did enjoy it. I was like, I did kind of was like I threw everybody in at the deep end of it.
Yeah.
But
Oh, cheers by the way for handing me the fucking Shakespearean speech at the end of it.
I did say I was so rushed. I was stuck for an end, and I was like, right, what do I need for an end? I need. After all that, there to come and deliver a serious kind of Shakespearean monologue. So I literally just copied and pasted from Hamlet.
I thought you had picked it. Whenever in hindsight, whenever you had told me that I was going to play the role of Michael,
yeah,
I thought you had purposely written me the most difficult bit to read, just as a sort of a revenge.
I hadn't written it, but I had it in mind.
What I mean?
Like I was like, this will fucking.
I was like, this fucking cunt. Everyone else was like reading cool words like hello and how are you and all these easy ones, and I was like, whence wealth man shall fucking. I was like, fuck me, fucking 3 glasses of mulled wine in me, a couple of beers. But yeah, my personal little tiny throwaway highlight of that whole thing was just Ross just about holding it together.
Yeah, it was
for
so
98%
funny, like,
of the podcast,
yeah.
and then just like when he didn't realize it wasn't over, and you had to be like, "No, it's not over."
It's like there was a wee moment where Ross is just like, I'm having such a good time and I fucking love you guys. I just wanted to say, we're like, oh, Ross, that's so sweet. And then like 5 minutes later, he's like, what the fuck's going on here?
He did so well for so long, and then he just was like, "What?"
I hold him responsible for this wrist injury. I was trying to make him laugh during the takes,
yeah.
which I semi-succeeded. You can see him kind of
There's
laughing a wee bit.
shots of him. Yeah, you can see it for sure.
I fucking used to love gigging with Ross. He was such a great guy to fucking spend the night with. He's just good
And
crack,
play a gig with.
good fun, good fun. He's such a great drummer. He's just the
Generous
nicest guy.
lover.
Like generous lover. He's 10s across the board. Looks great with a head shaved or a full head of hair. And what's even better, he has the option.
It's true. Yeah. Must be nice for some, huh? Yeah. Yeah, his Instagram profile picture is a very swarthy.
He's a handsome dude.
Oh, good. Aye, fair play to him. He's a good drummer too.
I said that. I covered that.
It's probably worth mentioning again.
No, but that's why I fucking love gigging with him, because he's just like, he's so easy to play with.
He's the kind of fella. It's funny. I remember him playing years ago. He used to come down. So before Songbook was Songbook, we ran a thing in Bangor, and he used to come down to that sometimes. I think he might have got up once. And like, he was never bad. I don't mean, so what I'm about to say isn't to say that he was terrible or anything. I think Maddie was maybe it was Maddie, was giving him drum lessons. someone that used to do the gig with us anyway, the odd time he used to come down, and because he was getting the odd lesson off whoever was playing drums at the time, and I hadn't really heard him for years and years and years, but you can really hear like he's really put a lot of work in, like he's really 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 tightened up, like, and he's a real solid player now, like
I think he might be my favorite drummer that I've played with.
Yeah.
To be honest with you, like
fair.
I find him so fun to play with. He's just really solid. And
Half the battle, it's funny with players, like, and there's a couple of examples of this that I've played with, like, and for this reason, never regularly, but like there's one guy in particular that sticks in my head as, like, you know, CV wise incredible, and even technical ability wise incredible, but like sometimes I think it doesn't matter how good you are if you're a fucking ball bag. You know what I mean? And like, it's funny, like when you're I even remember whenever Universal were trying to book like a band around me, which is like why I ended up moving up here anyway in the first place. But like, no, all the lads that ended up being like picked for that band or whatever were all good fellas. Like, but I remember having a conversation with the guy Tim, who was like my kind of go between everybody up here before I met him, and he said to me, he was like, "Look, go do the rehearsal." He's like, "But the most important thing is just that you get on with everyone." He was like, "Because you can always find another player to do any of these jobs for anybody ever." He was like, "But the most important thing is that, you know, all going well, which it didn't, but like, the ideal scenario here is that you're going to be on the road or on a bus or traveling in a fucking hatchback with a lot of these lads regularly, and the most important thing is that you just get on really well, because if you don't, we can still find someone who's really good at what they do, who you do get on with." And I think it's funny, like, there isn't really a great amount of examples of people that I can think of that are so good that I would put up with nonsense from them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Where you couldn't think of somebody else to get instead. And I think it should be like a lesson to anybody, like fucking ever thinking about, you know, putting bands together or
friends are better.
Yeah, always.
Friends are better.
Always.
the fuck, I like, just when you were talking there about like putting up with people and traveling and stuff. See, any time that I was with Beauty Sleep traveling or gigging with them at all, it was the full band with Ross and Amy and stuff. It's always just been a fucking amazing experience, no matter how trying at times it would get. It's just like
I need to stop doing this. Sorry.
five different personalities. Just really, I don't know. It always was really easy and fun, and it was just like a way better experience than I would have had. Like,
I'd have no problem believing that. Like, just all good folks.
Yeah.
And that's isn't that what it's all about? Like,
and then the same with like Philly and Fergal and Melly when I was younger. It's just like, that's the experience. And actually, you know what? I was helping my mate move house, and I found a CD of the Dirty Blues Band, which is the bluegrass band in Oma that I was actually at the recording. No, I'm grand here. I was actually at the recording of the album, but I'd literally, I think I might have been 19, and I'd literally just got my first banjo, and I was a tenor banjo, but it was like, these were kind of friends that I would kind of be drinking with in the pub, and they went from about there was a couple of ones that were older, like in their 50s, and one's kind of 30s, 40s, and 20s, but it was all like families and friends around Oma who kind of just knew each other from drinking in the pub. I'd put together a really nice bluegrass band called the Dirty Blues Band. Amazing player. Like, Oma is a fucking serious place for musicians. I can't, like, for the size of the town, like, it's, you know, all Artie McGlynn's ones, and fucking Jesus, I think it's the Milers were big musicians as well. There's just loads of fucking musical families. So it's this kind of band, you don't know who Tom Sweeney is? No, I don't think anybody outside Toronto Donegal does, but he would have been like, he's just like, they'd all be related to the Makems and people like that, you know. And I found this CD of them. I think we recorded in Leitrim. I was down. I was playing the banjo, but the banjo track never made it to the album, you know. Right. But it doesn't like colour my experience at the time. It was like in a disused barn, and we all travelled down. We stayed in the caravan for a couple of nights, did a couple of gigs down in Sligo at some bluegrass festival, and it was just like the nicest kind of group of people. It's like like I was with a guy who was same age as my dad and his wife and their daughter who was going out with a guy who was playing guitar, who was cousins with them. And they were playing guitar and bass and fiddle and all. And it was just this amazing experience. And it was just, and like it was like almost like a family band feel. They might not all have been at the peak of their games. There were some amazing musicians there, but they mightn't have all been like, they're just kind of not professional musicians, some of them, you know, but it was just the feeling of being like a gang. It trumps the kind of expertise of technique, everybody being completely like a maestro with their instrument, essentially what I'm saying. Like,
absolutely, yeah.
That's not what you will remember. You'll not remember the amazing performances that you've gathered 4 or 5 people who are absolutely technically supreme, but have no personality or connection to you.
Yeah.
Maybe a bit harsh on the maestros. I always say they have no personalities, like, but it's just the way I sleep at night.
I think it's just like,
I feel like I waffle there for a long time to get to that point.
Not at all. No, I think that like I think the you see, it's different when you're in a band because you have to make up the band of other people who would want to be in a band. You know what I mean? And so like generally, if you know, I can't even think of like, so an example that like Wee John or something would probably just not, he's part of many bands.
He's a hired gun.
But he probably just wouldn't want to be in a band because he's so busy doing I think there's like the variety in what he gets to do probably is very appealing to him because he gets to do so many different things.
Like a band as an ideal is like people, like a group of people committing to and like putting something in to make something greater than some of their parts, I think, you know. Did you watch Get Back?
Not yet.
Man, it's amazing. It's, man, it is the greatest. Apparently there's like an 18-hour cut, and I was like, I will absolutely watch every bit of it.
How long is the other cut?
It's 9 hours, 3 films, 3 hours, and it's all just, it's over a really short, I think it's over like 3 weeks.
Is this all stuff that people wouldn't have seen before?
Yes, a majority of it is never before seen footage or never before heard audio, and so much of it is them just sitting about, eating sandwiches, dicking about, playing guitar, trying to make each other laugh. Just 4 lads here, like 29. George, I think, might even be like 25. They're so young, and they're 6 years into, they're 10 years into the band, 6 years into the fucking Beatles mega stardom. And they're at a really pivotal point in their career, and it's just them fucking, it's just I can't believe the moment that it captures in pop culture. It's just like a massive, like, behind the curtain. Yoko is completely vindicated, as is Paul. Really? Yoko's she's just there. Nobody has an issue with her. Paul is the one going like all, who do you got? Linda McCartney's there. Is it Patty Harrison? George Harrison's wife. Well, obviously it is. She's there. You know.
Patty. Sorry.
There's nothing like, and like for the entire 9 hours, Yoko's just, you forget she's there half the time, and then sometimes when they're fucking about, she just stands up in the mic and she screams into the mic for ages while they're all just kind of jamming. Other than that, she's just kind of sitting there chilling out. Like, there's other people. Mal, the tour manager, is always there. He's there writing lyrics when they're jamming stuff out. And it's just the fucking, you have to watch it, man. It's so fucking good. You watch,
I definitely will.
I've seeing Get Back go from something Paul is humming to himself the morning that he's walking in.
I watched that clip now.
It's just fucking.
It's unreal.
It's like watching magic. It's amazing.
I love watching. I did enjoy, because that's something that I more or less start every band gig with, is Get Back. Like that's like always like the first tune we do. It's just a good easy one to jump in on. And watching the melody form is always funny. I think, you know, it's like
because they were fucking about within the minor key first, wasn't it?
Yeah. But just like hearing it turn into that, like that kind of there's the you could mistake it just easily just for like a gallop sort of a rhythm, but it's not. It's like there's a really important like upstroke in each kind of part of the rhythm, and you can hear the moment that they kind of go, oh, that's it there, you know, like you can hear it become the thing that is now in every repetition.
That's another thing I actually took away from documentaries. Like, Ringo is king. Like, he's just Mr. Solid and chilled out and funny and just like kept the whole thing going. Aye,
absolutely. It's a fun way to write, you know, like it's not a way that I've written very much, like, but
That's it. And the stuff that they put this, which ends with the performance on the roof, it's not. I said this to like the ones that I was watching. I was like, it's like they're not like they're ropey on their instruments, but that's why it's so good. It's because these guys, they're young and they came from the like clubs in Hamburg, rock and roll, and they're still like just all kind of still at the forefront of like musical exploration. So they would kind of be a wee bit ropey on their stuff. George Harrison is so young. There's a really the first film is all kind of explores that he leaves the band and explores that sort of dynamic where he's in the shadow of John and Paul, whose relationship is actually really healthy, which up until now you would have been led to believe that this was like a really fractious element and this was always split up. But it was just so amazing to watch people just healthy relationships with each other for the most part, jamming and creating stuff. It's such a fucking really worthwhile watch. I'll definitely give it a go. I've been meaning to. It's just I haven't had a chance. But I definitely think there's a. I think I've only ever really done it once, purposely, where it was actually James Morrison's band were coming through, and had booked some time in the studio that I was working out of a couple of years ago, and then I got it. They were just like. Basically, like they just been on tour for ages, just obviously doing James Morrison gigs the whole time. They just wanted as a band to like go and just do something different for themselves or whatever. And his guitar player Connor's from here, so they ended up in that place anyway. And then I got a call to just go and like just sing. Over just you know, we were just going to write something sort of a thing, and but it was a really fun way to work. Like it's mad when like you have an idea and then like the whole track is coming together with the idea. Like it's very different because like when you're writing just with an acoustic guitar, like you're trying to imagine all those things around what you're doing and trying to remember it then when you get to the studio, like, oh well, we thought this bit could do this, and you know, whereas like when it happens with a band in the room, it's a fun exercise, like, you know what I mean? Yeah. I
do think like it's always been something that I thought would make an interesting podcast. It would have to be edited like heavily, but would be to, you know, you could do it really well in here, you know, because you have so much space and you kind of have most of the stuff set up already, but just a matter of just getting people together and just recording the process of writing the song, and then whenever that song eventually came out or whatever, you would like release this as you would release like a half an hour, say, edited down version of like the writing of the song.
That's a good idea
for people to have as like maybe like a Patreon only sort of thing or whatever.
That's a great idea. We should do that.
I think it'd be cool, man. Yeah, but it's something that I think would only be really useful if there's like you need to have like lots of live mics in the room and all that sort of stuff. But you know, like all the wee moments on records that like you kind of take for granted. Like you remember that like there would have been a moment in the studio where somebody played it for the first time and then everybody went, oh, that's it. Or funny, maybe people didn't think it was the right thing to do. And
do you know what I think is really appealing about that? It's a very hard sentiment and emotion and feeling to capture inorganically. Like it's a very hard feeling to recreate, say, for if you were filming something about a band, if you were actually writing something where something is happening in the room. It's very like if you've ever, I'm sure you've seen loads of films about musicians or like band biopics where they discover their hit, you know, and it always feels really inauthentic.
Yeah,
I
it's
think
like how the writer thought it must
yeah. It's like I imagine Bohemian Rhapsody probably had a fucking boom boom scene, you know, where they're like, what was that?
Yeah. That's our other song.
You know, that's the sequel. But you know what I mean? Like Queen, they probably had a moment, or fucking any of Queen's Under Pressure riff, anything.
Can you imagine the first time that he played that to the band, how many times they thought the song was over? They probably kept going, mate, oh no, he's still going.
Which song?
Bohemian Rhapsody.
Oh, right.
Like, you know, like even just like, I always listen to that and think like, I definitely, like, this is why Freddie Mercury's a genius and I'm just some cunt, is because, and here's the answer to the question you've always been wondering, why is Freddie Mercury a genius and Nathan is just some cunt? Well, here it is. after 180 episodes or whatever we are at now, today is the day you get the answer. Is because, like, if I'd have even been in a band with him, I probably would have hard fought for that to be 5 songs. You know what I mean? I would have been like, these are all great separate ideas. Why waste them on one 14-minute song?
Yeah.
You fucking lunatic. Do you know what I mean? Like, it
It's
really
only 6 minutes, but I take your point.
Is it not longer than that?
No,
Is there not like a radio edit that's shorter? And
I think it's only like 6 minutes.
I can't even remember now. What am I thinking of? That's
No,
short?
but I take your point
Yeah.
regardless, you know.
But yeah, there's like so many sections. It feels like so many songs,
Yeah.
but obviously because it's so incredible, it is like,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know,
It's a piece.
it lives in our heads now as one
Yeah.
song. But if you are to study it, like it's a load of different tunes,
Yeah.
essentially, that obviously narratively all fit into
Yeah.
each other, but like musically,
It's an operatic piece.
Yeah.
Like it's
like if there was any moment in history that I would love to be a fly on the wall of more, it's when he brought it into the record label. I just love for them to just be like, what? Like, and him just be like, no, trust me. It's going to be really cool. There's going to be 4 of our heads and all in the video. It's going to be class. And they were like,
again, like
Okay,
once
Freddie.
again, kind of at the limit. I love when people like at that time they were pushing the limits of their mediums that they were working in, which I always find really interesting. Like
Yeah.
it's cool that like that idea that I'm sure there had been people who had recorded long pieces like that, but in like as in a pop rock
yeah.
act
Yeah.
with this element of theater that they brought, it's pretty fucking
Yeah.
spectacular.
Absolutely. Like Meatloaf is another one. Like that Bat Out of Hell is like a fucking big long old piece. It's a fucking pretty incredible bit of music.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a couple of those.
So it's all music. It's almost musical theater, like, isn't
Yeah,
it? Like, it's pretty much it. Well, Queen not so much, but Meatloaf is.
More consistently, Meatloaf is like musical theatre,
Yeah.
whereas Queen just had that tune that felt like musical theatre, and I mean all of it was very theatrical, I
Yeah,
suppose. But
yeah.
I mean, like, you know, the rest of them seemed to obey the structure of this needs to get on the radio, and this is how long songs need to be on
Yeah.
the radio, sort of thing. You know what I mean? But yeah, that would have just been an incredible time.
Jay, the only film that I have seen that has kind of, I think, accurately captured, I think I might have even said this before, accurately kind of captured that feeling of something coming together in a rehearsal room is the Frank Sidebottom film, you know, the one with Michael Fassbender with the...
Oh yes, we did a story on that, didn't we?
Yeah, it's probably when I chatted about it there. That film is fucking class, has Donald Gleason in it. It's just such a weird film, but there's a really class scene where they're rehearsing and you just start to see it build together. It just captures the feeling of it really well. 'Cause it's like a very repetitive, droning thing that sometimes you'll get locked into if you're out of ideas in a band, but sometimes it starts to feel good, you know.
Yeah.
It's a great feeling. There's a fucking amazing feeling just when
something starts to click, like,
Yeah,
no, for sure, man, definitely. It's a
5-0.
5-0. Imagine like our just genuine reaction was just well, that wasn't where I was going to go, but our genuine unfiltered reaction was to just dive under the table and then just like
My fucking niece has to do active shooter drills. Merry Christmas, Nathan. That's a wee tidbit for you.
Did you see the ad?
Both my nieces have to do
the parody ad that's made about that, where it's like the kids like showing off their new gear, essentially, like in school. It's like, oh, this backpack's really good because it has loads of space for my books, and then also, and like the whole thing is like, it's actually so. It's
Is
like
it
not.
like
It's
they're
not
bulletproof or something?
It's not like hilarious. No. Like as in like none of them are like real products or whatever. Like, but basically like the point of the ad is that like it's supposed to be like a normal school environment going on in the background, and they're like, you know, in the middle of all this thing happening, and then just, you know, like carnage in the background, but it's just a normal fucking Microsoft ad or whatever the fuck it is out front. You know what I mean? But I can't imagine a deeper shame a country should feel in hindsight than making that a normal thing.
Yeah, it's
for kids. Like,
I think it's the saddest thing that I know in my life. That
How old are your nieces in it? Is it just one? Two.
They're like maybe 9 and 6. I think
9 and 6. Like, it's a fucking absolute mad thing to have to go through in your lifetime, isn't it? Like, And no sign of it really having Aunt ever done about it.
Sure. Greatest country in the goddamn world.
Freedom. But yeah, it's funny like that.
Way to kill the mood, Mick.
Fuck it. Well, look, we're in now.
I had something else, a little more jovial, but I don't know why that one slipped out.
Man, if it's on the brain, we have another 2 hours to get through. So
Christ.
let's stick at it. Yeah, I don't know, like the cognitive dissonance that's required to be part of that in a country is unbelievable. Like, imagine thinking it was normal to
have that many guns.
To have like airport security, like airport level security at the entrance of your school. You know what I mean? Like,
I know.
I'm thinking that was just like, but sure, what's your school like? It's like our police don't even have guns.
Just a priest with a ruler.
But you know what I mean? Like our police barely ever have guns. Like the mind. You're
just heavy-handed with the old baton every now and again.
Yeah, not to say that they're fucking great or whatever. Like, but like even like. Certainly, like say down south, obviously, like there is like a rise in like violent crime in certain areas within like bigger cities like Dublin or Cork or Limerick or whatever. Like there's like drug related things or whatever where people may have guns. Fair enough, but surely like problem with America is it's too late to walk it back. Like there's too many guns already out there in the world now to just be like, right, no more guns. Like I understand why. Like I think if I lived in America now, I would be pro gun. Only as in pro my right to have a gun, only for, well, every other cunt's gonna have one. So like I might as well go learn how to use this and have one in my house, because who doesn't have one? You know what I mean? But like but in any other logical scenario, it just seems like surely the thing to do here is to just get everyone to give their fucking guns back on like a goodwill sort of a thing. But then they're like, who, the government? They're asking me for my guns back? You mean the people that it's in the Constitution who are meant to protect ourselves against? And it's just like, it's a never ending cycle of like, but seriously though, like
But it's Korea you gotta worry about. I love that. Or it's Russia you gotta worry about.
Yeah.
So I was like, we're surrounded by insanely, massively fucking powerful big superpowers, and you just feel like this island in the fucking middle of it going, is anybody fucking gonna tell these ones to fuck up?
Aye, I know. But the problem is, and I hope I'm wrong, but
Libya! You know we have a thing.
Any chance? But the problem is that for America to get enough...
Imagine we get pulled up for that.
We probably will.
Arrested for inciting terrorism. Is anybody going to tell these cunts to fuck up?
But isn't the problem with it though that in order for like a big enough message to be sent to such a superpower, it'll have to be something unimaginably awful for like, there's not enough sanctions in the world to get them to quote fuck up and cop on a bit. You know what I mean? Like it's not going to be that way. So like I don't want to fucking think about the other way, but it's just like,
I'm reading a book called
You Better Be.
It might be called Into the West or the West Expansion or something. It's all about the expansion into the western kind of territory of America. And I'm telling you this now, Nathan, there is a lot of slaughtering, relentless slaughtering of anything that it just gets in the way, whether it be fucking human, animal, or plant.
Yeah.
Everything is just getting ripped to bits. For some reason, the narrative at the time was whatever is at the other end of this fucking landmass, the Pacific Ocean, it's going to be fucking lethal. It's going to be worth everything.
None of us have seen it yet.
Yeah, none of us really understand why.
But I have got a hunch.
But apparently, and these beavers, man, they make great hats. And apparently, the Europeans and the Chinese and everybody cannot get enough of these fucking beavers, so we got to club these cunts. That is essentially what this book is. Like.
A beaver clubbing club.
Yeah.
Can we? I'm going to piss myself all very dramatically and suddenly. I desperately need to piss.
Cool.
Sorry. Let's just leave it rolling though. I always like to look back at how you were getting on.
Cool.
In my absence.
Cool.
You got a tight 5?
I've got a tight 5.
What about airplane?
Where's
my mask? Do I need one? Here.
Aye, always be cautious. He's put a tremendous amount of pressure on me to deliver, and I'm in half a mind to just stay silent. But now that I've spoken, I feel like if I stay silent now, it's almost like I've admitted defeat. So let's get to live out my fantasy, which is, what would this podcast be like if Nathan didn't exist and it was just me and I had free run of the show? Would I go full blind? Well, I think I would probably put a wee bit of audio bedding underneath, something kind of ambient, maybe not the looping piano, maybe just a bagpipe. Yeah, so I guess that's it. This is my wee Christmas treat to myself. I've decided to have a drink tonight because I don't foresee myself getting to the pub anytime now when I'm back over Roma. I had a wee few scoops. Actually, I wonder should I keep this? Yeah, I should keep that anecdote for when he comes back. But I had a wee drink in the pub on Sunday there, and it was grand, and it was lovely, and it was very pleasant. It was very quiet, which thankfully so. Had a few lat flows then, just to make sure all good. Drove back up here, and I just realised the way things are going, although Boris Johnson didn't really say anything of substance, Kel's surprise says you, because he never says anything of substance ever. It feels like they're inevitably going to lock down at some stage or just heighten restrictions. And in light of that, I'll probably just be overcautious and not go out to the pub as much as I would like to do, as is my want on the Christmas holidays. So I decided, listen, we're going to try and bomb through 4 podcasts here. I may as well just kind of have my social event double up as a work event. And there he's back now. And so that's why I brought a couple of ciders with me. And to be honest with you, I think I did pretty good there, keeping it light and riffy while he returned. And just going to hand it back over to Nathan now as he sits down. I hope he's taken all necessary precautions, cleaned his hands, wiped his hole.
In an order that would surprise you.
That was you know what, Nathan, I was out of my comfort zone there, but I decided I was going to try and just keep talking and try not to spill over my words, and I think I did an alright job.
Okay.
Because I had to do something actually on yesterday morning that I've never had to do before, and I feel like it was a step.
Should I?
I've brushed one of them.
They never said how many teeth.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Do you know, I actually had the thought the other day. I was thinking to myself, if you were just a skeleton,
I'm in. Let's do it.
Would you?
I'm already in.
Would you brush your whole
face, head,
your whole body with toothpaste? And would it then just be called bone paste? And every morning would you just be...
It would just be called shower gel.
Yeah. I think you would probably floss everything as well, wouldn't you?
Do you remember earlier?
Would dentists be the new mechanics?
Do you remember?
Doctors, they would be more respected than doctors.
Do you remember earlier?
Sorry, would you bathe in mouthwash and then would it just be called bone wash? That's it, I'm out now. That's me done.
The bones
had to get them all out.
People. Do you remember earlier you asked me if I minded a thing? And I said to you, mate, it's no odds to me. And you said, well, that's good. I just worry sometimes. And I said,
yeah.
Well, I don't mind. Because this would only happen.
Okay, got you.
These are all very lucky for it. Just counting on my money.
What am I, a clown to you? You got me. I got distracted there in a train of thought. I was going to tell you something. Oh yeah, it's a thing that I had to do.
Yes, on Sunday, I believe.
No, it was yesterday morning actually.
Sorry.
So, sorry to keep fucking shouting on about this pilot, but one of the things we have to do in preparation, because I'm going to be performing some bits of my own that I've written and some characters and other bits that the contributors have kind of put in.
Yep.
So I had to go have a Zoom call with the producer and go through all the scripts and essentially kind of perform them to him, which I've never actually ever really had to do, because anytime I was doing the also rans, I wrote it and then didn't look at it until we were filming it, and then we'd print out the script and I would have it, and then we would just kind of go for it and kind of riff it. And then when we were doing these in lockdown, these kind of remote recordings, and we were putting them together as sketches, it was kind of the same. You'd kind of write it and just read it off the page a couple of times. But this time, like, because there's a producer and an exec producer on board now, it was like, and he's going to be directing the thing, it was like, right, I want to chat to you about this character. I want you to try and do it this way, and I do it that way. And I'd never had to do that before. And it was...
What was that like?
It was grand, you know, it was encouraging enough. He was like, nothing too fucking out of my range.
Yeah.
Could
you do like a panicked Oma man?
But
Sir,
see, because
I can.
We have a lot of kind of big characters, but we have people who are more performer based, you know, to do those. But I was doing it in my home bedroom in Oma when my mom and dad were downstairs having their lunch, and I was like, "Did you hear me like shouting and yelling up there?" And they were like, "Aye." I was like, "Do you want to know what I was doing? Want to know what I was doing?" They're like, "No, it's grand. You're probably just doing something that you are usually doing." So we don't really understand it, but
you kind of almost wish your parents were more. Like, you know, when you get to that point of like a creative endeavor where you're acting like doing out silly voices in your bedroom, you almost wish your parents were more surprised.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Be like, what do you mean?
My
this is
dad,
just par for the course. Up until now, I've never had a reason to do this.
We were on Zoom with my sister, and she was her new partner was there, and they've spoke on my sister. Obviously, she lives in America, so parents had always FaceTime fairly. Sorry, I said Zoom and FaceTime fairly regularly, but I happened to be home a couple of weeks ago, and I was just kind of sitting at the side, kind of chatting to my sister and stuff. But Dad, I could just tell my dad is like, I have a great relationship with my dad, but it's based on the mutual understanding that he doesn't really get me. He doesn't. I don't mean he doesn't get me. He's like, he thinks I'm odd and weird, and I understand why he thinks I'm odd and weird.
Yeah.
But like as the FaceTime call was wrapping up, I just kind of started rambling, as I tend to do. And then I went quiet for a bit, and I went over and sat over on the sofa, and Dad kind of came back into frame, and he goes, "That's Michael there." They were saying this to my sister's partner. He was like, "He's not normally about that much. You wouldn't think it. He's smarter than you'd think." He's like, "But we don't really chat about him that much." And I was like, sitting over another sofa, and goes, "What sort of impression do you think I'm making on this fella?" I didn't think I said anything of like, you know, untoward or off the, or, you know, a bit askew. I thought I was being perfectly pleasant, but apparently not for Dermy.
Yeah. Do you ever have to? I do sometimes enjoy those situations where like you're so used to somebody's company that whenever you like a third party is introduced, you feel the need to explain them.
Yeah. Sometimes I just forget completely to introduce people.
Oh, all the time.
And then I feel like it's a wild fucking embarrassing thing to do. You always feel like
those are often the moments that I realise I don't know everybody's name as well, which is always shit. And it's like someone whose name I should know, and I've been like, that's Mick, and that's Ryan, and that's Shailene, and that's sure. Why am I doing this? You're all grown ups. You can fucking introduce yourselves, and you're like, oh cool, you're just not going to introduce that one person and make your moral stand on their name. But yeah, yeah. I mean, yeah. There's. You are who you are.
I did something on Sunday that when I felt, even while I was doing it, I knew I was like, this is too kind of. I feel like I'm parodying myself here, and I was like, you'll have to tell Nathan that you did this. Hummus
yoga.
No, not even. So I went into McCann's for my Christmas pint.
Okay.
Met my friend Kirsty, and I was chatting, hanging out, had a couple of pints. My plan was to do my usual, order my third pint, go next door and order my pizza, and go back in, finish the pint, walk home with the pizza and eat it. Grand. It's lovely.
What
it's
a lovely place. It sounds where you could order a pint, leave it at the bar.
No, order a pint, bring it, because it's tables, they bring it to the booth. I'll go over, order my pizza, come back, drink the pint.
Okay,
eat the pizza on the way home.
Gotcha.
Whatever happened anyway, pints, there was an extra pint ordered from him. I was like, fuck. Right. I've this pint to drink now, so I'll just go and I'll bring the pizza in. So I says to Andy, I was like, Andy, what's the policy in bringing a pizza in? Now the reason I ask is because sometimes it's quiet, you'd be grand bringing in a pizza. But there was a few Christmas drinkers, about a few Christmas jumper drinkers, you know.
Yes.
And I think you'd have been like, it'd have been like a red rag to a bowl to make that the norm, you know.
Yes.
So, and they said you could take it out to
Swimming
the
in
smoking
pizza
area.
boxes.
He says you could take it out to the smoking area, and I was like, grand. And I walked down and I was like, I'm not going to take it even in. I'm not going to bring this scent through. So what I did,
Round the side.
so between McCann's and Giuseppe's, there's an alley, and it's called Cat's Alley. I don't know why it's called Cat's Alley. It's just an alley. It goes the whole way up. There used to be a snooker club at the top of it. It's just a wee bit overgrown and stuff. So I went and got my pizza, and I walked up Cat's Alley, and I put it on the black bin, and I sat and I ate the pizza really fast, so fast that I burnt my mouth, which is really, really still burnt now. And I ate the pizza on top of the bin, and I was like, I can't believe I'm doing this. I can't believe I'm hoofing a pizza into me in the alley just to go back in and have my pint, right? And then I fucking put it into my mouth, and I burnt my mouth, finished it, put the pizza
When it was
box in the
burning,
bin.
why did you keep going?
Because I was 3 pints in.
Which is not enough pints to.
But it was just
You've burnt your mouth, and
but
you're going
it was
to continue
just
doing so.
it was too hot. Well, once you burn your mouth, it doesn't taste any less or it doesn't hurt any less, so you may as well just keep continue.
So have you ever accidentally like grabbed a really warm frying pan off the hob that you forgot was actually on the heat, and then you pick it up, and then so the I guess the logic here is, well,
Hold on.
hold on to it.
A very
because
positive message, I'm sure you'll agree. Just hold on, guys, and it'll be okay.
You'll get used to the
No,
pain.
so I burnt my mouth. I burnt my mouth, and I was like, fuck, well, it's kind of cooling down now anyway, but the mouth's burnt, so I may as well just kind of eat it fast. And I was like, so I finished it, put it in the bin, and I was coming out of the alley, wiping my mouth, and literally as I was coming out of the alley, across the road, my brother and his fiance are walking up the road with, like, passing the alley on the other side of the road with their mates. And they're like, they kind of see me coming out of the alley, wiping my mouth, and I was like, I just had a pizza on a bin. I'm way back in to finish my pint, and just walked in. It's like, I can't believe that actually, I felt like a parody of myself.
You act like a parody of yourself.
But it was grand, it was good, like, it was fine, and the mouth's healed now, and you know, that's Christmas to me.
If someone was to, if someone was to write you as a character, knowing, like, how would you say it? If someone was writing a sitcom where, you know, the parameters of like who you are as a person is obviously narrower, because, you know, so like those like American sitcoms,
Yeah.
you gotta hammer the stereotype
Yeah.
of whoever this person is.
You hit the extremes.
Yeah. So what character, like, so what's your character? You think, if like from a bird's eye view of your personality?
I get Charlie Kelly all the time.
It's probably just Charlie Kelly, right?
All the time. I get it all the time.
I can understand why.
And I know why, because it's the food thing and it's the voice. That's why, like.
Yeah.
And I just, you know, and also like I guess the Charlie work stuff. I think maybe there might be an element of that if you're familiar with the.
Yeah. Do you think you're a fan of just the dirty jobs then?
I don't mind that. I think it's I like being about active kind of stuff and doing stuff. You know, like that's why I'm always in here dicking about and doing stuff.
Seeing what your sledgehammer could fix.
There's an episode, the Always Sunny episode of Denim Chicken. Do you know that one?
Denim Chicken.
Where they find Charlie's notebook and it's all scrawls and stuff.
Yeah.
And there's like, they're trying to figure out what he wants.
Oh yes,
And it's like Denim Chicken, and I always thought that was really funny, because I always just think of my notebooks. I don't think what it does feel like that. It feels like these are nonsense. Like, what is this insanity? But I get that a lot. Like, I mean, you're a curmudgeon. That would be your broad stroke.
Yeah.
You would be Larry David or George in Seinfeld.
It depends which version of me.
I think.
Yeah.
If that's what we're talking about, if we're talking about archetypes.
I would prefer the version of me that would be immortalized in screen would be the when I'm at a loose end and my work is done me. I feel like that's more crack, but it's probably not really a true representation of who I am.
See, there's few and far between those. You're a loose cannon when you have little to be at.
Yeah. It's my favorite. My favorite thing is to have hours ahead left, but my bit's done.
Yeah,
that's my favorite like moment. Or like, it's like when you need.
You can make those moments happen more in your life, you know.
it's hard. Like, is it not though? Like it. Like, I find it.
But to do that, you have to be more kind of. You have to be going into things going. I'm not. It's probably not going to be. I'm not going to get. How do I say this? Like, it's more of a communal thing. Like to get that role, it has to be a more neutrally communal thing rather than like a thing for you specifically. You know?
Yeah. Which are just things I'm not fans of.
yeah. Well, that's it. That's the concession
But
you
what
make.
about me?
Yeah.
Is always the big question I have. What about me?
Yeah. Well, you are the world. You are the children.